Alright guys, today's lesson is all about writing your body paragraph. So what I want to share with you guys is before you can begin your body paragraph, you have to make sure that you have a couple of elements in your graphic organizer ready to go. Alright, so if you open up your graphic organizer after I'm done talking and you can kind of look and check your stuff, this will set you up for success. The first thing I want to point out, and I'm using Gabe Fogel's graphic organizer, is we asked you guys to add transitional phrases throughout your graphic organizer. The first transitional phrase for each reason, so for instance this section is going to be focused on recklessness. The very first transitional phrase is going to represent the topic sentence in your body paragraph, and so to make it easier on you, you could go to your graphic organizer and write out your topic sentence. It's not going to go into depth with reasons and examples. It's simply going to state that character trait and whether it's a good or a bad character trait, okay? So after his to begin transitional phrase and a comma, I need to create a topic sentence that deals with recklessness. So I'm just going to say Odysseus exemplifies reckless behavior throughout his journey home. That's my topic sentence. If you think he is a hero, describe the trait that he shows throughout the story as well. You can use this as an example if you need to, okay? So some other words that you could use instead of exemplifies, which I'm going to add as a comment here, are like illustrates, shows, depicts, demonstrates. Things like that would work for like the verb that you would use that would go before that trait, okay? Then what you need to know is your first quote needs to make sure you have a signal phrase. So right here we have Odysseus recalls, our precious lives we had but not our friends. He's missing one punctuation mark. He needs a comma right after his signal phrase. So whenever you're looking at your quotes, make sure you read it and ask yourself, okay, who's saying this? And then that's going to be the signal phrase. It's whichever character is saying it, and then some sort of word. So if you click on the signal phrase hyperlink, you have a bunch of words that you can use. Like instead of Odysseus, it could say Circe, it could say his crew member, whatever, okay? So recalls, instead of saying recalls, you could say states, demands, questions, hides, remembered, claims, admits, so on and so forth. This is also the example of a properly cited quote. You're going to have the period at the very end of the parentheses, not after the quote, okay? And then you'll have a comma after the signal phrase. So make sure all your quotes, so you have 6 of them, all have signal phrases, okay? So right here, he has Odysseus claims, this should say I stormed that place and killed the men who fought. So I'm going to put a little comma here because you need a comma separating the signal phrase out. So you'll go all the way down your graphic organizer and make sure you have your signal phrases set up using that hyperlink as a tool, okay? Then what you need to know is whenever you're looking at your graphic organizer, this dotted line here represents that you're still in that paragraph, but you're just talking about another example of whatever trait you're arguing. So this paragraph, the example here is recklessness, and so he has one example there, and then right here he goes into his next example. So the second transitional phrase right here, whatever word you choose to go here, you won't need to add another sentence or anything. This transitional phrase will end up just getting linked onto this sentence here to just help it flow smoother. Alright? So as a recap, make sure you have your signal phrases already situated and that your transitional phrases are in there ready to go and they make sense, and that each reason, the very first transitional phrase needs to have a topic sentence attached to it. Okay, so this one has recklessness here, Let's see if he has a topic sentence for part 2. Okay, he does right here. Next, Odysseus exemplified disrespect. So that's his next topic sentence. Okay? Alright, so now that his graphic organizer is done, what you're going to do is look at the instructions for the body paragraph. One thing you can do is just copy and paste the instructions and put it on your essay, and then by sentence, just make sure you're following the instructions. So right here it says, for the body paragraph, you're first going to start with a transitional phrase, and then your topic sentence that introduces the character trait exhibited. This comes from your graphic organizer. So for Gabe, he would copy and paste this right here. That would represent his topic sentence. Then it says, add your paraphrase number 1 here with added context and information as you write to explain. This could be 1 to 2 sentences. So now you're going in and you're adding in this paraphrase right here, but you're also adding in any additional context. This is where you might want to point out which story it took place in, or give context on what just happened right before this story or something to explain it just a little better, okay? Then you're going to go right into your signal phrase with your proper citation. You're just going back to your graphic organizer, you're scrolling down and you're grabbing it from here and you're copying and pasting that as well. After your quote, you're going to insert the direct result information along with explaining the importance of the quote. So this is where you go back to your document and you look right here. This is your direct result. And this direct result is explained enough that shows that trait, that negative aspect trait. So you're just going to copy and paste the direct result. And then you're going to do the same thing again, except you're going to do your transitional phrase with your second paraphrase, which is right after the dashed line. So he would copy and paste this and this, okay? And then he would go get his signal phrase and his citation, and then his result. And most of this is already found on your graphic organizer, and if you did a really good job writing it on a graphic organizer, it's simply a matter of just copying and pasting and then reading it to make sure it makes sense and making minor adjustments along the way. The last sentence you'll need to create from nothing, because we don't have this on our graphic organizer, but you're going to start with a closing transitional phrase, and then you're going to provide a wrap-up sentence that mirrors your topic sentence. So, for instance, this one right here, the topic for this body paragraph is that he exemplified reckless behavior throughout his journey home. Alright, so now what I need to do is end my paragraph repeating that, but not saying it in the same exact way. Breathe new life into it. One idea would be that you could cap out the paragraph talking about maybe the opposite of what he should have been. So instead of reckless, he was not prudent, that kind of thing. Or if you said that he had a good trait, then you could repeat that with supporting more, like just other words that kind of support that same topic. Okay? So closing transitional phrase, and then you wrap up. So if you think about closing transitional phrases, just go online and search for some examples, or use the hyperlink that's in Google Classroom right here, transitional phrases, and find one that works for you. But some common ones are all in all, as previously stated, to recap, to end, to summarize. Things like that are closing transitional phrases that alert the reader, hey, I'm almost done talking about this topic. Alright? When you're done doing that, you're going to want to run spell check, you're going to want to proofread, make sure you're spelling Odysseus correctly, you're capitalizing things, your citations, the periods are in the right place, your signal phrases have a comma afterwards, things like that. And that is how you write a body paragraph. You'll do the same exact process again for body paragraph 2 and 3. So if Miss Weatherington and I give you any feedback on your essay, and we put it in your essay as like a comment, just make sure that whatever feedback we are giving you, that you check to make sure you're not making that same exact mistake in another paragraph. Because if we tell you once to fix it in body paragraph 1, make sure it's fixed as well in body paragraph 2 and 3 if it's like a repetitive mistake. Okay? All right, that's basically it.